What is the most annoying thing a guest has done in your home? My late partner was very sick with leukemia. After over a year of being his 24/7 caregiver, I got the opportunity to go abroad for a work trip. My partner insisted I go because I deserve a break from caregiving and that his deadbeat brother would fill in as caregiver while I was gone. While his brother was staying in our home, he brought his cat, which is a no-no for someone who is living with zero immune system, did the absolute minimum to take care of my partner, and left him basically to figure out meds/food on his own. And the final blow was he stole the big piggy bank that we were using to save for his bucket list vacation before he died. Then denied he did it. It makes my blood boil thinking about it. You're lucky to not have a sibling who makes that story relatable. Mine hasn't done anything quite that horrible, but he and his girlfriend have definitely been taking advantage of my elderly mother's kindness basically their entire adult life. They and their children live with her, don't really help around the house, have often refused to pay rent, and every time she gets rid of them, they use their children to leverage their way back in through guilt. And that's just the tip of the iceberg on what a piece of shit he is. I'm honestly scared of what's going to happen when my mother actually needs someone to take care of her. One of my mother's friends is not only a raging alcoholic but is also on ridiculous amount of prescription drugs. One night she was staying with my parents and fell asleep in a leather recliner because of aforementioned alcohol and drugs. At some point in the middle of the night she shit herself, again because of the aforementioned alcohol and drugs, and instead of being a good guest and decent human being and being embarrassed by it and doing her damnedest to clean it up, she threw the blanket she was sleeping under over her mess and then went upstairs to sleep in one of the beds. Then she just told my mother about it in the morning and then left. My mother used bleach and every cleaner under the sun to clean up the mess, and she did, but she ended up just throwing the chair out because how could you ever really look at it the same way again? The most shocking detail in this story is that my mother is still friends with this lady. If anything is encouraging me to stay clean today, it's this. I've thrown up on myself/everywhere and pissed myself multiple times. This is Reddit, I have no shame lol, but I cannot imagine just leaving it there, especially shit. Even that whacked out on the pills, I still knew very well that vomiting on my friend's couch was a no-no and really, really bad. Even if I didn't realize it in the moment, I ensured that I did everything I could to fix the situation as soon as I even just began sobering up. Like buy my friend a new couch, or clean the whole house for them, or give them money to have someone clean professionally. I would profusely apologize also, and if they wanted to cut ties with me for things like wetting myself at the dinner table, I fully accepted that. It's a disgusting thing to do and there's no excuse, and she's a scum human being for not caring about literally shitting on the couch. Also, can I just point out that she went upstairs and slept in your parents' bed with shit in her pants also. This woman is a piece of shit, arguably literally. Edit, just to clarify, I don't think I'm any better than her at all. I'm just as horrible for doing those things, and my damage control doesn't make what I did any more acceptable. Let their little kid wipe his ass with my guest towels. Instead of, asking where the toilet paper is. When I was young, my parents went on a vacation and sent me to stay with the school nurse for a week. One night I shit myself. I was so embarrassed and didn't want to tell anyone. I took the shit-stained underwear and stuffed it behind the dresser in the bedroom. A week after I'm back home, my parents receive a package in the mail. This lady had found the shit-crusted underwear, put them in a Ziploc bag, and sent them back to us. My uncle once reorganized my entire kitchen. It wouldn't have been horrible, aggravating yes, but not horrible, except that he moved the fire extinguisher and didn't tell anyone. So when I accidentally started a small grease fire, I couldn't find the extinguisher. And that's how I burned my hands, destroyed my stove, and nearly burned my kitchen down. All because he just had to rearrange my fucking kitchen. My mother-in-law does this every time she comes to visit and it pissed me off to no end. I have a small cupboard just next to the hob which I use for salt, spices and sauces, that way I can just grab them while I'm cooking. After she visits, I'll open the cupboard only to be assaulted by straws or napkins. A kid whose parents didn't supervise him. He was probably 8 or 9 at the time and would get into anything, especially stuff computer-related. He would dig through drawers and open boxes looking for gadgets to play with, only to fuck them up or lose something. We finally told the parents they couldn't bring him back when he got into the kitchen and turned on the glass top stove while a pizza box was on it. Started a small, quickly extinguished fire and the house smelled like smoke for about a week. My parents would invite a family over with a boy who was an asshole like that. Got into everything and always destroyed my stuff. Once he even stole a pumpkin from the neighbor's garden and threw it at me. That melon proceeded to slam into my nuts. Have a similar story. A douchebag kid of one of my wife's very new friends, met at school picking up the kids a few times, came over once. He ran straight upstairs, jumping the baby gate, jumped on my bed and went through my bedside drawers. As I went to run upstairs to get the little prick, he came tumbling down, knocking the baby gate down and damaging the wall. He then proceeded to run across my couch before I grabbed him and threw him outside. His mum barely blinked and just said he can be a little crazy sometimes. Told her to fuck off and never come back. I asked my friends, a couple, to watch my house while I was away. By watch I meant check in every few days and bring in my mail. They thought I meant stay there, sleep in my bed, make a huge mess, stink up the kitchen with burnt food which they left in the pot for a week, ruining the pot, and, well, I guess that's it. I was most displeased. That's the opposite of me. I don't mind taking care of people's homes, house or apartment, but when I do I am so fucking afraid to touch anything so it breaks, that I mostly just bring my laptop and watch movies, and food-wise I bring my own, like a sandwich from a supermarket or something. Even if I am staying for days, I do it. So if you asked me to take care of your house, you could probably even expect it to be in better shape than when you left it, cleaning, picking up misplaced things, etc. I think it stems from my thought that I hate people touching my stuff, unless it's clothing. Keep your fingers off. My aunt took a shit in the bathroom, a given, considering we were having a barbecue, but instead of throwing the used tissue in the toilet or even the bin, she put it inside the bathtub. I told my mom, who put her on blast in front of the whole fam. She doesn't come to the cookouts anymore. My aunt brought my baby cousin round. The baby happened to be very constipated, so the aunt ran a warm bath and put the baby in the water until the poop came out. Then she wrapped up the baby and went downstairs, leaving my mum to drain the bath of poopy baby water. I had a student a few years ago who threw all her used toilet paper on the floor instead of in the toilet. It took us a while and some borderline creepy investigative work to figure out who the culprit was. I had to use Google Translate to explain to her how toilet paper works, as we didn't have staff who spoke her language and didn't want the other children knowing it was her. I was at work all day and I always closed my door before leaving, always. My mum had guests over and decided, hey, let's show the guests everyone's rooms and all the rooms in the house in general. Well, one lady, whom I had never met, didn't like how I arranged my room, so while everyone was at dinner, I work from 11:30 a.m. to about 9 p.m., 6 days a week, so I wasn't there when this happened. She went into my room and rearranged my desk, the clothes in my drawers and closet, all my pictures, and threw out some knickknacks that were given to me by old friends but she thought were trash I hadn't thrown out yet. I was pissed. She totally admitted it, but didn't seem to feel bad at all. My mum was upset too, but not as much as me. They're no longer friends, but I'm not sure why, probably 'cause she threw out some of my mum's knickknacks as well. My mother's side of the family can be very inconsiderate. When my sister was getting married some years ago, they stayed with us for the weekend. I knew I had to surrender my room to accommodate them, so I cleaned it, washed my sheets and towels, etc. for them. One day that weekend I came home and went into my room. They were only sleeping in the room, otherwise I was still very much using it during the day, and found all of their very wet, musty, smelly towels bundled into a heap on my bed. I cleaned it up and came back an hour later to find that my cousin stripped the duvet off of the bed and placed it on the floor and put her toddler son to sleep on it on the floor. My aunt used my makeup without asking. While I was present, they, aunts and cousins, all rifled through my closet and vanity and used/wore whatever they pleased. The night of one of the events, while I was doing my hair, I put the blow dryer down temporarily and my cousin gave it to her son because he was asking to play with it. He refused to give it back to me and my cousin told me I need to let him plead with it. They constantly asked me to do things for them and help them get dressed, which made me late and I missed the photographer, so I have no pics with my sister that night. I was devastated because she and all my other siblings got some wonderful shots that I missed out on. They insulted every outfit I wore, and if they liked it, it was only because one of them had one just like that but nicer. Throughout the weekend, I saw one of them pick my water bottle and drink from it. I walked into my room to find my cousin's husband shirtless and very greasy, passed out on my bed. He hadn't spent the night, so he didn't need to be on the bed, but even still, at least shower before you get on someone's bed. And the icing on the cake, my other sister also had to give up her room. One day she found a strange stain on her sheet. Turns out my cousin changed her son's diaper on her bed without spreading a changing pad and his shit got on her bed. If you like the content, please consider subscribing, and don't forget to hit the like button.